A raise of more than 1 million chips to Gus Hansen. I cannot see the Dane calling. First of all, he has the worst hand, but second, it would just take huge courage to call here with but a pair of sixes. Gus lays down the worst hand. Andrew Black rakes in some much-needed chips.
Well, for Black, having a proper mindset at the table is half the battle. You see, Andrew Black just doesn't exactly think like most other poker players.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Black, and I'm an erstwhile poker player. The card protector I have is a Vajra, which is a Buddhist ritual object, and it has many, many meanings. Probably the most common of them is it's the idea that it's the diamond thunderbolt. And diamond, even in this particular cosmos, is the hardest substance, so it's unbreakable.
Andy Black can be pretty nutty. I don't really know what's going on in Andy's head.
We'll sing you a song, a rebel song. But I do some complex visualization practices, which involve looking at symbols which maybe have some sense of connecting you with your highest potential. I visualize an array of spiritual figures, archetypal and otherwise, in an infinite blue sky.
Andy Black, you know, he flew down from that new planet. What's the new planet in the solar system called?
Should I give the fans what they want?
Yeah, it's always fun with Andy. You know it won't be boring.
Well, my style's always developing, you know. I mean, some people think I'm a complete maniac, and other people think that I'm a complete maniac. So maybe I'm a complete maniac, you know. But you know, don't always judge the book by the cover.
As Polonius said of Hamlet, there is a method to his madness. You know, Andrew Black took 5 years off from the game, lived a monastic existence in a Buddhist community, came back refreshed and with a new perspective, and it's been great success ever since.
250.
Pocket fives for Black. 250 the bet. Now Gus Hansen with a 10-8 suited.
Gus Hansen lives in the monastic community of Monte Carlo.
He makes the call. Now Fricky with a king-jack. And I don't think he's going anywhere. Fricky calls as well.
Look at this, a pot of nearly 800,000 before the flop is even dealt. This could get juicy.
And a very even hand so far, according to the odds. Ace, queen, 7 on the flop.
Nobody connects. Andrew Black actually has the best hand with his baby pair, but a bunch of overcards there.
Hansen checked. Now Fricky. He's been aggressive the entire tournament, and he continues so. He bets 500,000
with merely a king high. I like this play.
Good enough to get Andrew Black out of there. And good enough to get Gus Hansen out. So Jimmy Fricky will win yet another pot on bold play.
Yeah, and these little in-between pots where there's no big confrontation and where nobody really has anything are where a player can really gain an edge in a poker tournament. Jimmy Fricky seems to be getting more than his share.
Getting stronger and stronger. Let's take a look at the chip count here, and you can see more than 5 million chips difference between Fricky and second-place Hansen. Blackjack hand. He'll get rid of it. And now Andrew Black, and Black has got the goods. Black will raise to 220,000.
Those are two of the cosmic symbols he likes to visualize.
Yeah, particularly so. Hansen with a queen 5. Decided underdog.
Gus already has 80,000 in the big blind. He's getting a slight discount, and he's going to call.
So Black looks down to see if the aces are still there, and sure enough, they are. So 2 players to the flop, 4, 7, 9. Doesn't do anything for anybody, but it helps Black.
Yeah, it's actually fortunate for Gus Hansen that he didn't catch any piece of that flop. I don't think he can get in any further trouble with Andrew Black leading out here. I think it's a pretty easy fold.
So $300,000 it would cost Hansen. He says, I'm not going to do that. And wisely, he folds his hand. And Andrew Black starting to find perhaps his spiritual center again. We're coming back. Welcome back to the FullTiltPoker.net Aussie Millions. We're in Melbourne, Australia. 3 players remaining, fighting it out for all the money. And look who showed up here, the 2005 world champion, Joe Hashem.
At least we have a chance now that you're out.
The Melbourne native was knocked out in 23rd place.
Is he out?
I think he's out. I don't know.
He's so difficult. He could still be here. It's hard to say.
Well, he is still here, at least for the moment, but he will take his leave, the former champion. The final table now has reached 4.5 hours, but that's nothing compared to the marathon sessions that some pros have played.
The longest I ever played in one session is 78 hours.
30 hours, 72 hours. I know people play for 5 days straight, so I ain't no record.
It's really mentally and physically tough.
I remember going upstairs the elevator and I was like delirious. I was just like...
I think I probably slept about 20 hours after that. I was pretty tired.
20 straight hours, and that was back when I was much younger. The only reason I kept playing was because I was winning big and the game was, you know, really good.
I think the longest session I played was 31 hours, and most of the session was 3-handed with Gus Hansen and Phil Ivey. So that wasn't the best game in the world, but man, was it fun.
Don't let me die. What am I doing? I'm so crazy. I'm so sick.
Depending upon the mood I'm in, and if I feel like, you know, going a distance, I stay with them and play with them and try to win as much money as I possibly can. Normally, I don't play that long when I'm losing.
Nowadays, I don't think I have the stamina anymore.
You get whack out, it's pretty sick.
Mike, what's the longest you've ever played?
About 24 hours.
Did it make you loopy?
I was no more incoherent than usual.
Jimmy Fricke, though, is staying right with it. Nothing loopy about the way he's played. 10 deuce, and he's going to raise to $250,000. Andrew Black with a Jack-7 suited.
In the small blind. More than $200,000 to call. He dumps it.
And now Gus Hansen with a King-8. And Hansen reaching for chips. Looks like he wants to play.
Gus already has $80,000 in the big blind, puts in another $170,000, and we go to a flop two-handed.
And again, it's Hansen and Fricke. How many times have they hooked up? 9 ace 3 on the flop. Misses both players. Hansen, quick check.
Fricke represented strength pre-flop. He's going to continue that representation post-flop. He bets
$350,000. And Hansen's going to mull it over.
If Hansen gives Fricke credit for anything, he'll have to fold his king high. No!
He's going to push $700,000.
Wow. Just as Jimmy Fricke pulled the pernicious double raise on Gus Hansen, the Dane has returned the favor, and it's going to work.
Fricke will fold his hand, and so Gus Hansen wins this head-up contest with young Jimmy Fricke. Here's the way we stand right now. Fricke with all